for, let's say someone is not focused on bodybuilding or, you know, gaining muscle mass,
Mhm.
is Masszymes still a good option for them?
Absolutely. In fact, I think as you get older, and we've seen some amazing transformations. I think as you get older, Masszymes becomes absolutely critical. One of the basic reasons is just the importance of amino acids. Again, whether, you know, of course, if you're somebody who's working out and you want to recover from workouts, we all know the importance of amino acids. But let's just take an ordinary person. One, you know, even if you don't want to look like a bodybuilder, in my opinion, everybody should do resistance training, because lean muscle tissue, I'm not saying you got to get big, build muscle mass, but strength is one of the main determinants of both health span and lifespan. And I saw it with my own grandfather. You know, my grandfather got hit by a car when he was 75. It was a hit and run. And then, you know, I had, of course, some significant damage. And I just saw him decline from a cane to a walker to not being able to move to praying for death for multiple years. Like, he lived in our home. My father built an apartment for him. And I just saw firsthand, like, you know, once you can't move, you know, movement is critical. So, and even, you know, in the last few years, we've heard like sitting is the new smoking.
Right.
It's really not moving is the new smoking. And the key, and this is a quick health tip, moving every 30 minutes is huge. Like I say, moving, like I can just stand up, you
Right.
know, that alone is enough to solicit biological responses that prevent this degradation from happening. And sometimes I forget. I mean, I'll work like 10, 12 hours a day most days. And sometimes I forget to move and I feel it. And then, like, for example, before the podcast, I've got a rebounder. I rebounded for 5 minutes with a cool song. And, you know, it changed my whole state in 5 minutes. But back to lean muscle mass, you know, if you're not able to even just cross the street, not fall down, like, all of these things are critical. Plus, muscle tissue is a glucose storage unit. Back to the energy, back to carbs, right? Let's go back to that process. So you consume carbs, you convert the carbohydrates to glucose, and then you either store it in the liver, you store it in the muscle tissue, which is, again, if the more muscle tissue you've got, you can store more carbs, which make you less prone to blood sugar problems, or you store it as body fat, or you burn it, you know. And muscle tissue is critical. I mean, so that's one reason for amino acids. The second one, and this is where I think I saw the biggest difference with people above 50, 60, 70s, is neurotransmitters. So neurotransmitters are produced with combinations of amino acids. And if your body's not breaking down the food and then transporting those proteins, those amino acids, through the intestinal tract and then assimilating them, and that neurotransmitter creation is an assimilation of amino acids, right? Then you're going to have brain issues. So again, I'm not making any claims here, but a very good friend of mine, he's 82 today, and he started on Masszymes, I think, when he was 78. He had been on antidepressants for decades. He got off. And again, there's no pharmacological effects directly from Masszymes. What's happening is the body's able to produce neurotransmitters, which is huge. And then rebuilding organs. And then if we're talking about autophagy, and if we're talking about lifespan, the agglomeration of undigested proteins and unassimilated amino acids is believed to be one of the primary causes of death for supercentenarians. Basically, this protein is building up in the cells because you're not assimilating it. Okay. And I can tell you more toxicity assimilation stories in a sec. And if you're not clearing that out, your cells stop functioning properly, which is a key driver of aging, which we talk about in our upcoming book, the Biological Optimization Blueprint. So taking Masszymes when you're fasting, whether it's an intermittent fast or a longer fast, will dramatically enhance the benefits and effects, because one, you'll clean out your intestinal tract. Two, you're going to start cleaning up, again, proteins, undigested or unassimilated aminos in the bloodstream. which is huge. So I don't care where you're at, like Masszymes is one of those products that if you're a human, you can benefit from. And of course, the dosage and the protocols change, I think, based on what your goals are. So that's what shifts.
Awesome. So one big takeaway I just took from there is that you can take these while you're fasting, because I've always been under the impression, this is something you take before a meal, with a meal, after a meal, sometimes some bundle around a meal. But you're saying that there is benefit doing that in a fasted state. And so is that for a specific, like you said, a specific goal, or is that just in general, for health and longevity?
Well, again, we know that one of the key benefits of fasting is autophagy, which is the body essentially cleaning house, right? Breaking down undigested things or dangerous things. Basically, the body's cleaning house. Now, what is doing that? Again, what are enzymes? Enzymes are things that break down and then can reassemble and catalyze all these biological processes in the body. And part of that is, again, breaking a protein down to an amino or recombining aminos to build a protein, which, for an example, we have 7,000 plus peptides in the body. What's doing that? It's the enzymes, right? The enzymes reassembling aminos to create peptides that do specific functions. So if you're, again, taking the Masszymes on an empty stomach, then they will do a very different job. Because again, if you're using it with food, they're going to break down the food, get utilized that way. If you take it on an empty stomach, they're going to clean house first in your intestinal tract, and two, a lot of it's going to go into your bloodstream and have very autophagic enhancing effects, which is huge for fasting. So our protocol that Wade and I will do, and a lot of our clients will do, let's say like a normal day, somebody may be eating a 10, 12-hour window, wake up, a normal dose is like 5 caps, and then 5 caps before bed, assuming, again, you haven't eaten for 2-3 hours. And a lot of people report feeling a lot more energized in the morning.
Wow.
And we believe that. So again, I've been a sleep nut optimizer since the Zeo came out, which, man, I think that was like 10 years ago. That was like, the Zeo was the predecessor to the Oura Ring. It was like a headband. And as a side note, they're far more accurate than an Oura Ring. But been optimizing sleep, and nothing still to this day crashes my sleep quality like eating food, I'd say 2 hours before bed. I mean, I try to go 4 hours now. But if you're going to bed with food in your stomach or in food in your intestinal tract, for most people, and I've seen a lot of sleep data, it crashes their sleep score. So I think one of the effects of Masszymes is it just enhancing the digestion, relieving strain on the digestive system, speeding it up. So that could be one of the mechanisms why you're sleeping better and waking up more refreshed. But that's a basic day protocol. Now, let's say somebody wants to do an aggressive 72-hour fast. What we typically do is 30 caps a day split over 4 to 6 doses. And you do that, again, empty stomach. You're just drinking water, maybe some green tea or whatever you want to do to enhance your fast. Capex is another fasting enhancer, and it will activate AMPK, which is one of the benefits of that gets activated when you fast, AMPK being a nutrient sensor. And when your nutrients go down, AMPK goes up. And Capex has several ingredients that actually activates AMPK. So both of them are fasting enhancers, but from different angles. And yeah, a lot of people use these protocols when they do some extended fast or even daily intermittent fasting or morning and night fasting.
Awesome.